Skyrim is full of enemies, secrets, and treasures to uncover. Today, we will be discussing the mysterious Dragon Priest masks and ranking them in order from the least powerful to the most powerful. The ranking will only include the mask and its abilities, not the actual Dragon Priest fight itself. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting things off at the bottom of the list, and I would say the only objectively bad piece of armor in this entire list, the wooden mask. The wooden mask, despite being completely terrible, its light armor has like 4 points of protection, does have one incredibly cool ability. The wooden mask, when worn in a very specific location in Labyrinthian, allows the wearer to teleport back in time and unlock another mask that we will talk about later on in the video. Coming in at number 13, we have Hevnorak. Now, what's worth mentioning at this point that every single mask on this list after the wooden mask is incredibly powerful. It is very good. I'm not ranking which one's the worst so much as which one is the most situational and the least useful. Now, continuing from where I was, Hevnorak is the number 13 choice. Hevnorak is a heavy armor piece that allows the wearer to become immune to disease and poison, which on paper is really useful, and it is pretty useful, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just incredibly niche. It's very rare in the game that you end up actually getting afflicted with a disease or poison. And even if you were, for some reason, afraid of that, there's multiple other ways to deal with it. You can enchant a ring or a necklace with immunity to disease and poison. Or, if you're someone that plays as a werewolf or a vampire, vampires are immune to both disease and poison, and werewolves are immune to disease and resistant to poison. For these reasons, I think Hevnorak is useful, but not as good as some other masks on this list. For the number 12 spot, I think Crois fits in quite well. Crois is a light armored Dragon Priest mask, and it has a weird mismatch of enchantments that are all helpful but don't work very well when combined together. Crois gives you plus 20% to your lockpicking, alchemy, and archery, which are 3 skills that are useful but really don't work well together. And because of this, I think Crois deserves to be at the number 12 spot. At the number 11 spot, I think Vulcan fits in pretty well. Vulcan is a heavy armor Dragon Priest mask that is clearly meant for mages. It gives you a 20% reduction in spell costs for alteration, illusion, and conjuration magics, which again are pretty useful fields, but for the most part are quite niche, and if you're not a mage build, this is not a mask that'll help you very much. The 10th spot, Volome, is another one of those masks where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what was Bethesda thinking when making this? It has 3 useful abilities, but they don't seem to have any correlation with each other. Those abilities in question are plus 20 carry weight, 20% better prices, and the ability to breathe underwater for some reason. At the number 9 spot, we're starting to get to some seriously powerful Dragon Priest masks. Otar, or Otar the Mad, grants the wearer 30% resistance to shock magic, frost magic, and fire magic, which is incredibly powerful if you're facing mages and dragons. Additionally, Otar is heavy armor, and it has a pretty cool color to it. The 8th spot, Nakreen, or at least I think that's how you pronounce it, is another mask that's very helpful for mages as opposed to other builds, although I could also see it being useful for a paladin build. It's heavy armor, and grants the wearer an additional 50 points of magicka, and it reduces spell costs and restoration by 20% and destruction by 20%. Here we are at the halfway mark with Ragit. Again, I'm not sure if this is how you pronounce it. You can correct me in the comment section if you'd like, but Ragit is a heavy armor piece that increases your stamina by 70 points. Stamina is useful for every kind of build. Doesn't matter if you're a mage, an archer, a 2-handed warrior, 1-handed warrior, doesn't matter. It's an incredibly powerful ability, and I think purely based on that, it belongs at the number 7 spot. Coming in at number 6, I've placed Morokai. Now, Morokai is probably the most specialized mask of all the Dragon Priest masks. It's only useful for mages, but it's incredibly useful for mages. It's a light armor mask that only provides a few points of protection, but the enchantment is incredibly powerful if you're a mage. It increases your magicka regeneration speed by 100%. No other item in the game can even come close to that besides maybe the Archmage's robe. The 5th spot, you're not going to believe this, is incredibly helpful for mages. Coming in at number 5, we have Mirak, or Mirak's mask. There's a lot to say about Mirak's mask besides the fact that it is helpful for mages. It's a little bit weird. It's the only mask that, depending on what level you are, its ability either increases or decreases in power, and its armor rating can change depending on whether you have a higher skill set in light armor or heavy armor. If you're a heavy armor user, when you kill Mirak, the mask will be a heavy armor mask. And depending on what level you are, as I mentioned earlier, if you're anywhere from level 1 to level 30, it'll give you 40 points of magic. If you're in the 30 to 50 range, it'll give you 60 points of magic. And if you're higher than level 50, you will get 70 points of magic on the mask. Just outside the top 3, we're coming in at number 4 with Dukon. Now, Dukon is another specialized Dragon Priest mask, which is similar to what the next 2 in this list are going to be. Dukon grants the wearer 50% resistance to frost, and also gives you a bonus to your frost magic. So if you're someone that likes frost spells, Dukon is a fantastic mask for you. Plus, if you face a lot of frost dragons, if you combine this with being either a vampire or a Nord, you will be completely immune to frost damage. We're finally into the top 3, and at number 3, we have Ozodal. Ozodal is basically the same thing as Dukon. It's a heavy armor mask, but instead of granting resistance to frost, it gives 50% resistance to fire and a 25% bonus to fire damage spells. Now, the description of the mask says it only works for magic spells, but it also will increase damage on your enchanted sword. Now, this applies to the previous mask, and it will also apply to the mask ahead of this one. And here we are at the second best Dragon Priest mask in all of Skyrim, Zakrasos. Probably the toughest mask to pronounce. It also has one of the coolest looks to it, and some incredibly powerful abilities. Zakrasos is basically the electricity version of the past 2 masks. So you might be wondering, why did I put this one so much higher? Well, there are multiple groups in the game that have resistances to either frost or fire. For example, vampires and Nords are both resistant to frost, and dark elves are resistant to fire. Nothing in the entire game is resistant to electricity or lightning. So having 50% resistance to lightning and also doing 25% more damage with lightning is pretty useful against either mages or possibly even dragons. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Coming in at number 1, we have Connoric, or Connoric, however you pronounce it. Connoric is the most unique looking Dragon Priest mask besides maybe Mirak. It also has the most powerful abilities almost undebatably. It's a heavy armor mask that has the most protection of any helmet in the entire game. Now you might be wondering, what does Connoric do? Well, when your health is low, the mask heals you to full health, it causes an explosion that damages the enemies around you, and it has a 10% chance to summon a ghost dragon priest that will fight by your side. How can you go wrong with that? Another thing to note, because I did say I'd talk about this later on, Connoric, the way you get it is by killing the 8 dragon priests found on Skyrim, mainland Skyrim, not Solstheim, and going to Labyrinthian, picking up that wooden mask on the ground, traveling back in time, putting the Dragon Priest masks into their respective slots, and this will allow you to unlock the Connoric mask. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or video ideas, please comment down below. If you do enjoy my content, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll see y'all in the next one.